In this movie, we are going to look at HTML JavaScript. Hello there, my name is Muhindo Mubarak and I'm your tutor tonight. So the HTML script tag is used to define a client-side JavaScript. The script element either contains a script statement or it points to an external script file through the src attribute. Common use for JavaScript are image manipulation, form validation, dynamic changes of content into a web page. So we use JavaScript to manipulate or to perform the logic on the client side or in the website in the web page. For example, we have two numbers that we want to add. For example, 3 plus 4. HTML might not be able to do that, but by the power of JavaScript, we can do that logic. So in other words, JavaScript can give us the brains, or it can act as the brain of our web page. So a HTML script tag, to select an HTML element, JavaScript most often we always use the ID, and we write just something like that by writing document.getElementById, and then we specify which ID. And this JavaScript example writes, for example, okay, next JavaScript example that you're going to do is going to write the word hello into a certain element that will select by ID. So with that simple introduction, let's jump into the practical example. So here is our project. I'm going to create a file and I'm going to name it as HTML scripts. So press Ctrl N, or I can just right click here and then say new file, and I'm going to make it 23._HTML script. So there we are. So I'm going to simply put HTML tag to create a what? A Word document script. Okay. So after writing that script, let's go ahead and do what? And write our script tag. Okay, so to write a script tag, first of all, we're going to begin the element that we're going to replace. Okay, so I'm going to put here maybe my h1 tag and say this is original content. Okay, so I'm going to, let us first run this and see what we have in our page. So I'll come to our browser and then press Ctrl O and then open this file. Okay, so by doing like that, we'll have this is original content. Okay, now let's go ahead and use JavaScript to replace this original content with something else. To do that, as we say that to define JavaScript, we use a script tag. Okay, so I'll just simply write script here. Okay, so inside here, whatever I write there, it's going to be a JavaScript code. So I'm going to give this one an ID. I can call it ID and call it heading. Okay, so after doing that, I'm going to now point at this heading so I can load something into it using JavaScript. So to do that, you just simply write document like this, and then you put dot, and then you write get element by ID like this. Get element by ID. Then you put bracket and then you put the quotes and then you specify the ID. For example, my ID is heading, so I do like that. So this element will have multiple things that you can change or you can act on it. So for example, I'm going to change the inner HTML into what I want. Okay, maybe this is JavaScript content, something like that. So to do that, I'll just simply say dot inner HTML equal to this is JavaScript content. Okay, so I can say this is content from JavaScript and put a semicolon there. So by doing like that, it means that after our page has finished to load, I'll find this element from the document wherever it is, and then I change its HTML into this content. So I save. Let's go and see what will happen. Refresh. So right now this is original HTML content. Refresh. Boom. Can you see? So JavaScript, JavaScript, it does what? It when it finishes to load, it replaces the HTML content into the JavaScript content. So whatever is here is replaced here. Okay, so that's a simple sample of JavaScript. There's so many ways of how we can change JavaScript. We can use JavaScript to change the color. We can use JavaScript to do many things. For example, we want to change the color in this text to another color. So we'll have to select it just like we've done, and then you just put dot color. Dot color. I mean dot style. So color is under style attribute. So you put dot style dot color, and then you define the color. So you can say maybe red and save. Okay. So it means that JavaScript is going to look for this ID and change its style color to red. Okay. So let's go and refresh. Beautiful. Can you see? That's the power of JavaScript. I hope you can see that JavaScript can do anything. Can manipulate our document, can even change the font size of our document, font size. And for example, I can come and say the font size is maybe 30 pixels. So if I come and refresh, it has changed to 30 pixels. So JavaScript can do a lot, to manipulate our document, and is the one that will be used to act as the brain of our document. But this is just a simple introduction that shows you that JavaScript can be used to modify all the content that is inside our document. And also, I'd like to give you a fact. Did you know that JavaScript is the most popular language in the world? Of all programming languages in the world, this JavaScript is the #1 programming language in the world. So it's a powerful language, and this is just a simple introduction to it. And the concept is that it can modify anything inside the HTML web page, and it has no competitor. It is one of its kind. So that's a simple introduction to HTML, JavaScript. Let's meet in the next video where we're going to look at HTML paths. I hope you'll not miss.